Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Let's get after it.
In fact, the archaeologists were blown away. They were like, why? Like, they even did this pretty cool experiment where they got people to grind on one of these. They made their own grinding stones, just like the ones at Göbekli Tepe, and they would grind for 8 hours in a day to see how much material that they came up with. And it was enough to feed like 5 people.
Really?
One guy. And so
one guy for 8 hours.
Yeah. So based on the amount of
one college kid who's never done it before, grinding for 8 hours can feed 5 people.
So they were just blown away. They're like, there are way too many grinding stones here to support whatever population may have been nearby. So what the hell were they doing? They were manufacturing a lot of stuff, whoever these people were that had the grinding stones. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that's connected to who built this place, but there are broken grinding stones all over it, and broken arrowheads, broken flint shards. So people were living and working there all the way up to fairly modern times. I mean, to at least medieval times. And I mean, it's being farmed right now. So technically, they're still there. People never left.
You know, that makes me wonder if they had some form of economic system, if they had like some form of trade going on or something with neighboring villages, and that's why they were making so much extra food. Maybe they were selling it or trading it for other goods. Very interesting to find out.
You know who owns the rights to the interior of the Great Pyramid? NASA.
What? they own the what?
The rights. I was told by one of the guides a couple years ago that, you know, get as much as you can coming in here, because if they say that they may one day shut off access to the King's Chamber. I said, why would they do that? He said, well, they're afraid that, you know, it's the pyramid's earthquake or something could make it unstable. I'm like, this thing has been here for thousands of years. It's not going to become unstable. That's foolishness. What's happening is they've discovered something technological about it, and they want to control it. So
NASA owns the rights to the interior of the Great Pyramid.
yes.
That's spooky.
They also own the rights to a section of the Grand Canyon. And then also, where else? Chaco Canyon. Same situation. They actually own the rights to those round former things that look like they might have been domes or whatever. Now there's no dome, but you can see.
Are you freaking kidding me? NASA owns the rights to the interior of the Great Pyramid? If that doesn't make you start questioning NASA even more, why in the world would they be interested in that? They're supposed to be all about space exploration. That tells me the pyramids have something to do with the truth, because NASA is just a big company of lies. We all need to do a run on that Great Pyramid and see if we can't figure out before they shut it down what its use or purpose was. Hey, if you're enjoying this video, I make a new one just like it every single day. It'd be awesome if you'd hit that subscribe button and come back tomorrow to join me.
Okay, the Hubble telescope launched back in 1990. 4 years later, 1994, we get that image right there. Okay. You know, shot back down to Earth from the Hubble telescope. Now, what did NASA do? Of course, they tried to hide it, but it didn't work. Now, by the way, that picture right there, my uncle gave me that picture. 1994, it was one day after Christmas, so was that intentional? You know, because they're calling it, you know, the City of God. You know, so to me, I mean, I don't know, was that someone at NASA that you know, is basically trying to send us, you know, the American people, the Earth, the world, for the world, really, when we're talking about the Hubble telescope, are they trying to send us a message? I mean, what are we looking at here, guys? Crazy. I mean, it reminds me of like ancient ruins, like on Mars or the moon, or, you know, or any planet for that matter, but check it out. And it has like these weird domes and tower, almost like a watchtower, and you can actually see different rooms. And I mean, to me, there's too many shapes, and there's too much geography there. It doesn't look natural. Okay, and again, it's very beautiful to look at. You know, when I saw it, I just kind of stared at it for a while. I was like, wow, that is absolutely beautiful. But I mean, right there's the original image right there. I did add a little bit of a filter, but like I said, at the end of the video, I'm going to show you the original NASA image untouched. I mean, right there, guys. Here we go. We're going to zoom in a little bit. I mean, that to me, I don't know, that does not look natural. And why would something like that be literally floating in space, right? And right there, you see that little tower? And is that like a little moon? Maybe they have 2 moons behind them. It looks like a city. You know, like something you would see like on Google Maps. I mean, totally crazy. Like there's a little tunnel right there, some caves, and almost like a V-shaped roof back there, you know, some type of awning. I don't know, guys. I mean, you tell me. You tell me what you think in the comment section, because, you know, I'm completely blown away here. You know, and when you put all the facts together, the fact that it was leaked, okay, NASA tried to classify the picture, right? They tried to hide the picture from the public, but it was too late. Reporters already had their hands on it. And by the way, you know, it's kind of buried on the internet. You know, I actually saw another channel covering it, you know, so I thought, wow, like I have to make a video. Now, originally, you know, when the picture came back down to NASA, they thought it was like, you know, like a lens flare or something like that. But the image, you know, was studied under a microscope. You know, back then they had magnifying glasses. I mean, I'll leave the article below, but NASA verified it is a real image from Hubble telescope, 1994, the day after Christmas, leaked to the public. You know, so think about that. If you know how the Hubble works, I forget the exposure times, but basically the photo was taken probably on Christmas Day or right around there. I mean, crazy, right?
That to me looks like poor Photoshop work. It looks like they were trying to stir up some free press and get people more interested in NASA, and so they intentionally leaked this faked photo to the public to make people care more about space exploration. But if that photo was real, we would know where in space it was taken, and there would be telescopes pointed there right now. We would have more things going out there to investigate it. I don't think it would be such a mystery. I feel like we'd have a little bit more information on it if that was really something that was floating around out in space. So I don't believe that's heaven that was captured on a photograph. I don't think that's even something that could be possible. I think if God exists and heaven exists, then God would keep us from being able to photograph it because he wants us to believe on faith.
But then it's like, fuck, it's fucking actually crazy. And now is there xenon on Mars?
What is xenon?
The xenon, there's a chemical. So the soil on Mars is supposedly enriched with xenon. I'll just throw out an arbitrary number, 1,000 megatons of nuclear. It comes from nuclear explosions.
What?
So, and they said that the soil, they said that the soil on Mars is super packed with it.
Yo, imagine if Mars was
there was
like
a nuclear
war
on Mars.
where they just obliterated the whole planet.
How do you feel about the face?
The problem with the faces, it was a very low resolution camera, and it was convenient. And then when they went over it a second time, it's weird in the shape of it, but it didn't look like a face anymore.
So how do you feel about NASA having its own like photoshopping branch?
Do they?
There's people at NASA that Photoshop. You look at a picture of Mars, what color do you think it is? It's like a dusty tan. Like orange.
Right?
Would you pull up the real pictures of Mars, what they actually look like without the fucking filter on them? Am I crazy?
What does Mars
Check it out.
Well, isn't it like Earth,
it is
where there's
crazy.
different spots that have like different color ground?
I don't know. So you look at pictures of Mars from like 20 to 30 years ago.
Okay.
Or whatever. And then you look at pictures of Mars now, they are drastically different because people caught on to like, why are you throwing a filter on Mars?
So they were changing the color of Mars?
Like that. Yeah.
Interesting.
Look at the sky there. Okay.
Right.
Look at the sky there. Look at the ground there. And then look at the second one even in fact. There's an orange tint to everything on every picture that we've ever seen of it.
It's interesting to see that even Post Malone is starting to wake up to all the lies and stuff that NASA's telling us. Pretty fascinating.
Here's what AI thinks kids looked like in the early 1800s, early 1900s, 1950s, 1960s, 1970s, 1980s, 1990s, 2000s. And here's where things begin to go downhill rapidly. 2010, 2020. Somebody make it stop. We can't go down this road anymore. This is insanity. I will be long gone before we get here, hopefully. I just think we're at a fork in the road and we can't keep going down the road we've been on. Go outside, put down the devices. This is crazy. We don't want Skynet to become a reality. This is not normal. This is not what life is supposed to be like. Let's get out of upside down land right now.
That's terrifying. If we don't do something quick, this is absolutely the way things are headed. I've got 4 kids. If I didn't actively keep them from it, that's all they would want to do is stick their face in a screen, play video games or an iPad or something like that. And there's still fun stuff to do outside. Get you a side-by-side or dirt bikes, stuff like that. Go outside and breathe in some fresh air. Kids just need stuff to do outside. I think kids need to experience boredom. I think that's what fosters creativity. You know, whenever I was a kid, one of my favorite things to do was sit and think about things. You know, I liked doing that because I developed a skill of thinking deeply about different topics and exploring different ideas inside my own head out of sheer boredom because there was nothing else to do. I think that a lot of the reason that I am who I am today, which I'm proud to be who I am, is because of growing up and having nothing to do as a kid and having to figure it out on my own and not having an iPad or something there to stop that boredom from seizing me. So I think we need to do away with these iPads and stuff, or at least not let kids use them unless they need them for something specific, like a school project or whatnot.
One of the most startling of all of the artifacts, and that's the Delk print. The Delk print has a dinosaur print and then the human print right next to it. Do you see it? Do you see the big toe right there and the toes following it? How this is impinging on this, or is this impinging on that? We'll have more information on that. That is called the Delk print. These right here you could easily skip over and say, oh, okay, nice little jars. But no, there is a baby dinosaur on one of them. You've got a squirrel right there. You've got a frog right there. But that, my friends, is a dinosaur. And this is 1200 AD from Central America. Talking about something that should not be there. In the sandstone, which is even older than Cretaceous limestone, is an alleged, I think it goes beyond alleged, handprint. So this person pushed off of the ground. The majority of the weight was right here. It's deeper, and my hand just barely fits in there. Again, that shouldn't be there considering the age of the rock. Now, the solution to having dinosaurs and humans together, or handprints or footprints in rock that are allegedly 100, 200, or even 500 million years old, can all be resolved if one looks at the worldwide flood 4,500 years ago as a geological anomaly, really, with intense amount of geological activity accelerating some of these processes. And you can have humans and dinosaurs in the same place 4,500 years ago and have a handprint in sandstone mud that then hardens and then masquerades as something that's 200, 300 million years old today.
I don't see how anyone even thinks that it's up for debate that humans and dinosaurs roamed the earth at the same time. I think it's clearly obvious that we did. There's no way that they made those clay pots with the dinosaur handle by finding dinosaur bones somewhere and then reconstructing in their mind what it could have looked like and getting it that close to what we know dinosaurs to look like today. It just doesn't make any sense at all.
Can I leave you an apple? That hair is growing. What in the fucking Narnia? Some kind of Rick James. There's an eye in between there's a face in between the two trees there on the right. What's your name? He's got it. People say, yeah, I do this and I do that when they watch.
I've watched this 5 or 6 times, and my best guess is that this guy got high and walked out in the woods with a camera. I'm not seeing what he's looking at. I think that he's seeing a big knot in the side of a tree and thinks that there's eyes on it watching him. It'd be nice if this was a little bit clear. Looks like it was filmed with a potato, like all Bigfoot videos are. But yeah, I don't see anything in this.
I recently got hold of a Pat Price, who was a famous remote viewer for the 70s, remote viewing session, and it's 37 pages of him deciding one day to sit down in 1972 and look at what the UFOs were doing, where they were coming from. And it's never been released in the public, but some of the details in these 37 plus pages detail about how he's looking around, and he talks about all these facilities, these kind of alien beings. He talks about more than one race of alien beings interacting with us. And then one of the documents talks about how they have also infiltrated every facet of human society, social, economic, and financial, governmental, religious. And he actually details each department and head of department and how they are infiltrated non-human intelligences. And so I don't know if he means that they're actually not human in this stage, or if there's something else.
I don't know. I would say if aliens exist, are actually here, they've absolutely gotten themselves into our government and our powers and power systems and stuff to try to control things. But I'm not convinced that we have aliens here. I'm convinced it's the government, and that they're the ones that are flying all these crazy crafts and stuff around.
I honestly, sincerely, and unequivocally do not expect any of your audience to believe any of this. Robert Bigelow said to me, "They're walking among us." What do you mean they're walking among us? I said, they're walking among us. They live right here. Before I say this guy legitimately is in a position to know a lot more than I know. He had the government contracts. He had the contacts. He had the intellectual heavyweights in the scientific community all working for him. This guy definitely knows a lot. No question. And the guy's a billionaire. And then the fact that he's hoarding it all and it's under armed guard in a vault at his house, it kind of pisses me off a little bit. He says, "James, do you understand the implications of disclosure?" He said the economy would collapse, organized religion would collapse. I'm not saying that I believe this. I'm just telling you what he said to me.
I just can't get behind this idea that aliens are actually here. I feel like with everyone walking around with a camera in their pocket, if there were shape-shifting aliens, somebody would be a whistleblower with video footage, not whistleblower with hearsay or with what they found in a unclassified document from someone doing a psychic reading or something like that.
The 66th Grammy showed us satanic symbolism that was more occult than in the previous year. This year we had Dua Lipa performing inside of a cube, then on top of a hexagram, which is a flattened cube. The cube is symbolism of Saturn, which is an occult concept related to Satanism because it symbolizes the material realm. And occult groups like the Brotherhood of Satan utilize rituals to initiate members down the path of becoming gods. The idea of Saturn is that it is the darkness required for the light. The occultists believe that they can become enlightened only after going through the darkness. The Grammys occurred during the astrological time of Aquarius, which is ruled by the planetary force of Saturn. The age of Aquarius is the new age of connected consciousness and the evolution of man, which is embodied through transhumanism, so I'm not surprised to see the human testing of Neuralink and the release of the Apple Vision Pro goggles all this week, which will ease our evolution into the digital matrix where they want us. To drive the point home, SZA performed her song Saturn with lyrics about how we live in hell, which is the Gnostic view of our material realm. Finally, Travis Scott told us he was transporting us through a portal into his utopia, which looks like hell, but I'm not surprised because that's what these people are into. Taylor Swift announced her 11th album, that's the number of magic by the way, which will release on April 19th, the day that is supposedly the beginning of the sacrifice period leading up to Beltane or Valpurgis Night, the highest night of the witch holidays. Even her father, Anton LaVey, wrote about this in The Devil's Notebook when he points out the first commercial broadcast on TV was aired on Valpurgis Night, April 30th, 1939, and proceeded to talk about the television ushering in the age of Satan. Taylor, of course, won her 13th award, her favorite number, as we all know. The number 13 is said to be a divine number by the occultists because the Bible assigns 13 with the meaning of rebellion against constituted authority, referring to the rebel angel Lucifer. There's actually a whole lot more to this story. Check out my full podcast episode to learn about Doja Cat and her satanic fashion designer tattooed across her dumb head.
That is one of the best breakdowns I've seen yet of the celebrity satanic cult crap that seems to be going on stage. And yeah, there's too many coincidences at this point to look at it as just coincidence. It does seem like somebody is directing all these concerts. They're big theatrical shows, and somebody's putting a lot of thought and effort into putting these things together. And it wouldn't surprise me to find, if we were to find out, that it's all comes down to one guy or one small group of individuals who are behind all of this.
Studied the Hermetics at all?
No.
Are you interested in?
Yes.
Have you heard about them at all?
Sure.
This thing?
Please.
Have you heard of a book called The Kabbalion?
No.
Well, this should be right up your street. The Hermetics were Egyptians. It's where the Freemasons came from, and the alchemists and the people in the Middle Ages who preserved, the culture when the Dark Ages came. And the Hermetics comes from Hermes Trismegistus, Hermes thrice great, who was supposedly the wisest man or avatar or god from the Egyptian period. And the Kabbalion was their book. I think the Hermetics had like 7 principles. The first one is that you and I have no physical existence as entities. We exist entirely as thoughts in the mind of the All, or God.
I feel like this is hinting back to simulation theory. If we only exist in the mind of God and we're not a true physical being, then wouldn't that mean that we were created in a simulation and that the creator is the only one who has a physical existence, that we're all in a simulation and that's why we don't have a physical body? We're just programmed to feel like we have physical functions? I don't know. I don't think we're living in a simulation. I think it's a lot more likely that reality does exist. It had to have been started somewhere, so for us to be in a simulation and say that that's the most likely scenario would mean that whatever real life was outside of that simulation, that it would also be most likely that that was created as artificial simulation. Somewhere along the line, one of these worlds has to be the real one and has to have come into fruition some way, by some means. For that reason, I can't get behind simulation theory just yet. But guys, that's the end of this video today. I hope you enjoyed the clips that we watched together, and I'll be back tomorrow with another video. Don't forget to join up in our Discord. There's a lot of great conversations going over there. I drop in periodically. If you want to submit a video for me to watch, make sure it's between 60 seconds and 4 minutes, and that it's either a YouTube short or a TikTok, because I can't upload full YouTube videos and react to them, or I'll get my stuff taken down for re-uploading YouTube content. So I hope you guys have a great, fantastic Tuesday, and I will see you back tomorrow for the next one. Have a great, fantastic day. I'll see you tomorrow.